Okay. All right. So, oftentimes I talk about um, closing in on perimeter shots, right? So, computers wide open, or they believe that they're wide open, and you could trick them into believing that they're wide open by actually leaving them wide open, right? And just coming in to close in on the shot. So right here, this is what I'm doing, right? So I'm purposefully sagging off a computer to give them the illusion that they're open. I've gotten about shit. I had games where I've gotten well over 6 or 7 or even 10 blocks just off of this alone, man. Just throwing 3 pointers back to back. Especially when you got a taller player like this guy right here. He's 7'2". So it's a lot easier for him to close in and defend their shot, which is why the algorithm has to cheat for the computer so much because their IQ is so low. It's so easy to just beat them every game, right? So right here, as you can see, I'm forced into doing this switch animation where even though I'm moving forward to close in on the shot, I'm forced into going into a strange animation. And the whole point of doing this is to prevent me from actually being able to block the shot or close in on it, in a way that throws them off. So this registered as him being wide open because of this little moment right here, where instead of just leaping at it, I'm forced into switching stance, switching stances, and then jumping at it. Right? Understand these animations like this right here. This is not accidental, right? This type of shit right here is put in the game for a reason. It's done purposefully, right? It's not just a glitch or a flaw in the gameplay, right? This is done on purpose. These are what I call animation triggers, right? Where let's say the algorithm wants a particular thing to happen, it'll trigger you into an animation to allow it to happen, or to prevent another thing from happening. So they trigger you into certain animations, right? Like this right here. You can see how strange it looks, where he just switches into, I don't even know what to call this, because usually it's a gather step when they're trying to hold you back from blocking the shot. They usually force you to gather your feet, and do a drawn out, over exaggerated shot contest animation. But right here, they force me to like do a stand switch and then dive in at it. So now, when you look at how close I actually am to it, right? Now, look at this. You see how close I am, right? Imagine what this would be like had I just been able to jump at the very moment that I went up to go for it. So that'd be like somewhere right here. Just leaping from right here and putting the hand up, right? So you look at it frame by frame. I would likely already be in the air, right? So he's got a wide open shot, and this whole moment right here where I would be in the air, I'm forced into doing this stance switch, right? And this is what I'm saying. This is done purposefully to give computer a open opportunity to score a three. Look at this. Let's go back. So right here, boom. Right here is where I hit the Y button. So if I had just jumped off this lead foot right here, if I had just jumped off this foot, I'd have been there to close out on the shot. He would, even if I didn't block it, it would have at least been heavily contested. It would have been somewhere over 50%, maybe even 70 or 80% contest, right? So what they do to throw me off from being able to pull that off is they force me into a stand switch, which usually what they would do is they will force like I already said, they will force me to do a gather step, which is basically when you're going to close out and block a shot, you're forced to gather both of your feet together and then leap up, jump at it to block it. And all of that is to give computer that window of time they need to get off an open shot or to get off a shot without you being able to block it, right? So now this shot registered as being wide open. Just because of that little slight animation switch right there. That's all he needed to get off an open shot. So right here, I'd already be all over it had I just been allowed to jump the moment I pressed the button. All right, now let's look at this in regular speed. Do you kind of understand what I'm getting at? You kind of understand what I'm getting at, right? Boom. So right here, I'd have jumped. At that moment right there, I'd have jumped. So now you fast forward, instead of jumping, I'm forced into doing this right here. I'd be in the air right now already. I'd be all over it. Now he releases, I'll be there. You see, you know, you go forward and you see I'm almost there as it is, right? I'm almost there as it is. Now imagine just being allowed to jump when I was intended on, or when I attempted to originally jump. This likely, when you look at how close this is, that likely would have been a block, right? But once again, that's the purpose of this little animation that they just forced me into, this shot contest animation. That was the whole purpose of it, right? Was to prevent a computer from being heavily contested, or to prevent them from having a shot block. Just look at how close I am, even with that animation. It gave them the perfect amount of time that they needed to get off an open shot. But I ain't gonna drag this on. I already did drag it on too long, but anyway, peace.